Welcome to Ibex. This is the first video in a series to get you up and running with the program quickly. In this video, I'm going to cover the interface. Anytime you start Ibex, you'll start here in the File menu. It gives you access to any of your recent files, and by selecting those, it'll load it in your interface. I can create new files, open any other files I have saved to this computer, and then I have a lot of the standard file functions like save, save as, import, export. I can access my account information here. Ibex has a dark mode. If you prefer the window to be drawn in a darker color palette, you can activate that here. There's version information, print the screen, print setup so you can link to your printer. And then I have the preferences here. And this will control a lot of the colors that Ibex is drawn with. You can change your units here and some of the other behavior that Ibex will exhibit when you're moving around the workspace and drawing. That can be adjusted in preferences. And then finally, there's drawing units. Let's say you start drawing in millimeters and need to switch to inches. This is where you can convert your drawing from one unit to the other. So I'm going to create a new drawing, and this will then take me into the primary workspace. So here I have the drawing area. This is where all my drawing and designing will be done. And then I have the ribbon up top. And the ribbon is the core of the application. Any tools you're going to use in Ibex to draw, edit, apply toolpaths, they'll all be accessed through the ribbon. And we've organized the ribbons from left to right in the order that drawings will naturally progress. So on the left, we have the home ribbon. This is going to contain some of your setup tools and basic drawing tools like here's lines and basic shapes, text, move, scale, rotate. I'll cover all these in additional videos, but this is where they are in the interface. The next ribbon is edit. This is where contour manipulation and editing tools are like welding and some of our distort tools. Here's also where I can nest shapes within my material. The toolpath ribbon, this is where I can access different toolpath types and apply them to selections in my workspace. So I have different types of offsets, different types of fills, drills if you're utilizing drills, and then I can also edit contours once they're created through these functions here. The manufacturing ribbon, this is where I can simulate my output, order it, I can set up my machine. This is where like the auto tool changer can be accessed or the drill bank if you have one. My tool library, so I can adjust what tools are available to my machine. And then here's where I create output to send to my machine. And then you also have our utility to review backplots once you generate output. The final ribbon is the view ribbon. So I have all my zoom tools, my view changing tools. If I want to switch from the top view to, let's say, the front view. Now I'm in a front view down here and switch back to top view. That's all here in the view ribbon. I have some display modifiers. I can turn off the drawing of the material here, the toggle, or enable the drawing of the vertices in my contours. Those are all accessed here. And selection modifiers. Like if I want to select only the circles out of all the objects I have selected, that can be done here. Now, some of these, like the view modifiers and the selection modifiers, I don't necessarily want to always have to come to the view ribbon for those. And so we've added those down here at the bottom in this toolbar. So I can access different views and different selection modifiers quickly without having to always navigate to the view ribbon. Now on the right over here, I have three different flyouts. They can either be hovered over and they will be temporarily popped out, or I can pin them and then they're always visible. So the first flyout is the layers flyout. This allows me easy access to the different layers currently in my drawing, and I can add or subtract or change the behavior of each drawing. So I'll add some layers using the Add Layer button. As I select that, I now have 4 layers in this drawing. I can adjust their visibility here by unchecking the visibility box, or lock them if I want them to still be visible but not selectable. The dark blue line indicates which layer is currently active. So with layer 1 active, I'm going to activate the rectangle tool and create a rectangle on layer 1, switch to layer 2, create a second rectangle, do the same with each layer. And exit the rectangle tool. And now you can see if I turn off layer 1, that rectangle I put on layer 1 goes away. If I lock it, now I can't select it. It's in the background. I can still use it for reference. I can still snap to it, but it's no longer editable. And I can also change the appearance of each layer. So I'm going to change layer 1 to this lime green, and then I'll enable drawing colors with layers. And when I do that, you can see here that the rectangle I put on layer 1 is now drawn in that lime green color. That's useful if I want to assign colors to each layer and then toggle that on and off for a quick visual of what I have organized on each layers, and then turn it back off once I'm ready to apply toolpaths, or I just don't need the color for reference. If I don't want to have the layer fly out pinned all the time, I also have access to the layer toolbar down here, and I can adjust the active layer just using the up and down arrows. And that allows me to, you can see over here that as I select the up or down arrow, it reflects the active layer here as well. And then I can turn all layers on or off. So now I'm just drawing the active layer and then cycle through my layers like this to see each layer individually, and then turn all layers back on here. So that's a quick way to access layer data without having to go to the flyout. My next flyout is the methods flyout. And this allows me to access saved toolpath templates I may have. I'll cover this more in depth in another video, but very quickly what it does is if I select this rectangle and I have 3/8" hatch fill that I want to use, this might be a trusted toolpath that I use all the time. I can double click it and quickly apply it to my selection and not have to get in and do any configuring. So once you have that trusted set of toolpaths, you can access them here and quickly create your designs. The final flyout is the Help tab. This provides a quick reference, at-a-glance help for each tool in the program. So in this case, I'm just in the standard selection mode, and so I have different shortcuts for moving around the workspace, like Control right-click to zoom, Shift right-click to pan, and Control Shift to tilt. As well as down here, I can see F12 will reset the view as I'm moving around and trying to get a different view of my workspace. This is context specific too, so if I activate the rectangle tool, now the help changes to show help for the rectangle tool. So it'll give a brief description of my different parameters that I have up here in the ribbon now, and some shortcuts. So like holding Shift while drawing rectangles. Here I'm holding the Shift key. Now it locks my drawing to square proportions instead of rectangular. And if I release, then now I'm back to a rectangle. I also have a link here to the online documentation. If you prefer a bit more of a long form description of what the rectangle tool does, you can access that here. I have the video tutorial button here. If I click that, it'll take me directly to the rectangle demo video. Finally, on the left over here, I have my snaps. The snaps toolbar allows me to toggle on or off each individual snap as I need it on or off. So I'm going to get into the polyline tool here. And right now I have no snaps on. So as I move around the workspace, I'm not snapping to any specific points. If I turn on the snap vertex, now as I get close to the different vertices of these rectangles, I'll automatically snap to that point. Or I can turn on the midpoint snap. Now I'm snapping to the midpoint of these lines. So I've got the midpoint and the vertices snaps on, and then I can turn them off and again, not snap to anything. The nice part about having them toggleable like that is that I can have as many on or off as I need at any given time, and I'm not distracted by any extra snaps turning on. That's it for the interface in Ibex. I'll see you in the next video.